Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Final Flight podcast. We're here once again for another preview of the weekend. Joe's running a little bit late, but he will be joining us tonight. So if you're watching just for Joe, he will be here, don't worry. And we have a good guest tonight. Liv, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Are you excited to make an appearance on the show?
Yeah, very excited. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It certainly has. We've been waiting for this one and some good racing to get stuck into. So we're very happy to have you. Thanks for coming on. And we can't wait to get stuck into it. Rich, we obviously had a very good DRF Monday show with Sean Flanagan, the review show. That went smoothly once we finally got it out on Tuesday. So hopefully everyone enjoyed that. What did you think of that, mate? And are you enjoying yourself this week?
Yeah, it was great chat to Sean. It's just good to chat to these jockeys and see, get some insight from them, But hopefully the weather doesn't play havoc this weekend. That's my main issue that I think I'm going to have. But no, fingers crossed with some good racing to enjoy.
Well, just think if it got called off, at least you can't have any losers. But yeah, like I say, we've got Newbury, obviously the Betfair Hurdle weekend, and Warwick as well. We'll fire through a couple of Warwick races, and we'll chat a little about a few of the good, nice horses that are coming up. And hopefully you're all sat with it, and we'll get straight stuck into it. So we're going to kick off at the Warwick card. It's not a bad card, but there's a couple of races we'll look at. So straight away, the 145 at Warwick, the handicap hurdle. I'm going to come to you first and Liv to kick us off. Have you had a little look at this? What's your opinion? What are your thoughts? Who wins?
I have. I don't think it's a very strong or exciting race. I've just gone for the favourite, which is Santos Blue. I just think he's the most consistent out of them all, really. He finished 2 lengths behind Crambo at Aintree, which obviously has given him quite a lot of form. He won last time out at Wetherby. That was in a Class 3 race. He was 7th out of 15 runners at Haydock, but he was only 7 lengths off Slate Lane. And I know he was thought a lot of, obviously, before he was injured. So I've just kept it quite basic and gone for that. I also know he was 3rd behind Broadway Boy at Cheltenham as well. So the form's there and the class is there, really. So just gone for him as a safe option.
Yeah, to be fair, Liv, I agree with you there. I think he's a very consistent performer. I mean, we've spoken about it a lot on here. Crambo, we've worked him. We thought he were unlucky in the Haydock race, so I think that's quite a strong form. And like you say, Skelton, he likes to target these Saturdays. Rich, I'll come to you. I mean, he does look pretty strong at the top of the market, does Santos Blue. I mean, I've backed that Resplendent Grey in the past, and he's not really done it for me since. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to side with Santos Blue again as well and let Skelton kick the Saturday off.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well. Santos Blue, brings the best form, like you say. 2nd behind Crambo. Was he 3rd behind Broadway Boy at Cheltenham?
Yeah.
You love Broadway Boy, don't you?
I do. I just don't think anything in that field could probably match that sort of form. I know he's up £5 for this, but he is up in trip slightly. The claimer on board seems to get on well with him. Won last time out, 2nd the time before. I don't think it's a very deep race. I think he's a good thing. I think he just wins, doesn't he? I think.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I think he's improving, and I think if he keeps doing that, even off top weight, but with the jockey taking the 7 off, I think he's got a really good chance of backing that up. And like I say, when you're talking horses like Warlord and things like that, I know a few people jump on them quite a lot, but they just don't do it for me. So I think that's a 3-way time for Santos Blue to kick off the show. And I'm assuming Joe would have said the same because, great minds think alike. Love it. Right, moving on then to the Mares Hurdle, the 220. Now, this is a tasty little 4-runner race, and you've got You Wear It Well in here, currently as odds on favourite, Win to the Lightning, Get a Tonic, Blue Beach. Now, obviously, Liv, you've got, the big connection with the Greenhorn Guerrero team. So I'm just wondering which way you're going to land on this race. Are you going the which way we think you might be going?
I'm going for Winter Lightning. Yeah. She is, obviously, knowing her and her personality, she is so tough. And she's grown so much over the summer as well. So she can just power through any ground, really. So if the ground changes between now and Saturday based on the weather, I don't think it will affect her too much. I think, obviously, You Wear It Well. Don't have a bad word to say about her either. She's got everything you'd want in a horse, really. But I know that Winds will give her a really good battle. I think she was really, really unlucky at Cheltenham last time, not to be biased. I think she hit the front maybe a bit too soon, but she was staying on towards the end, and obviously Harry Skelton cut across her on Nurse Susan, leaving her short of room. So I wasn't very happy with that.
Nice bit of race riding there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite cheeky. She was third out of 17 runners at Cheltenham, only beaten a length and a half. 9-length winner at Wetherby, 12-length winner at Sedgefield. She beat the very useful and respected Ruby Island by a neck at air. I just think she's just going to continue to progress. I think she'll be a nice chaser in the future as well. So I just know, even if she doesn't win, she's going to put up a very good battle, whoever she's against. So I'm going to go out of loyalty and go for her.
No, I love that. I mean, I'm going to follow you in. I mean, we've had Henry Brook on, we've had Josh on, we've had Saul on, and they've all spoken very highly of this mare, and you can just see that from her runs. I mean, I was on Nurse Susan the day that Harry Skelton did a little bit of a tactical manoeuvre to get himself in front of her. I mean, luckily, obviously, I was on for it. It was a big charity treble that I won, so I'll let him off that one.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just think she's improving. I think she's improving for the trip. I think the soft ground is right up her street. I think Saul mentioned now that she probably prefers it, if anything, and she's won on good ground, but she's just gliding through this soft ground.
Yeah.
And like you say there, I think, 3.25 lengths off Nurse Susan, who's rated higher now, has won again since. It is good form, and I just think, I think she gets the trip. I think she won't mind the ground, and I think, to be fair, I'd much rather be backing her at 7-2 personally than you wear it well at 4-6 on. And I think Get a Tonic, although won well 2 starts ago, I think might struggle off this higher mark. So, Rich, what are you thinking? Are we going to be all on the same page again?
I mean, at the odds, she is the one to bet on. It's a shame there's no each way sort of value in this sort of race. If there's 3 places.
Fancy Blue Beach at 66-1, no?
No, unfortunately, I don't. But like I say, if it was 3 places each way, I think she'd be a great bet. I just think the favourite's going to be too strong for her, unfortunately. I mean, she's rated 132. You wear it well as 144. There's £4 difference in weights. I mean, she's got some making up to do on ratings. You wear it well as a Grade 2 winner at Cheltenham, won the Mares Novices. I mean, that was some race. You had Magical Zoe in there, Halka du Tabert, Lucia. I just think that is the best form, and she's another one that's probably going to like the heavy ground. It was torrential conditions when she won at Wetherby, so I think she'd be a tough nut to crack. But I wouldn't be surprised if You Wear It Well was behind her in second. So I might play the forecast on that. I think that'd be the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I might do is I've got a spare £3. I'm going to put £1 each on the 3 outside of the market and hope that You Wear It Well bombs out, because it's a tight little race. I mean, I laugh and joke about Blue Beach, but she did finish 2.5 lengths off I Love the Nightlife, who bolted up last time out. I had to back to her that time, so she hasn't got bad form in there. But yeah, I think Winter the Lightning is the one to be on, and I'll happily stick with that, I think. And that'll kick Saturday off in good style. Right, love it. So the last race we're going to do at Warwick, and this is why we've sort of done Warwick first. Obviously, the Kingmaker Novices Chase. It's a Grade 2 over 2 mile, and it would have been nice to see a little bit of a better field in here. Rich, I mean, I'll come to you first. We've ended up with a 3-runner field, and all we've got here is Matata at 4-9 on, Pembroke at 3-1, and Bob Harley for Tizzards at 12-1. I mean, it's a poor showing for the UK 2 mile chasers, don't you think? It's a shame, really.
It's shocking. The winner is 42 grand. I mean, 3 runners. I don't know what to say. I mean, John Bond won this last year from 1-16. So, I mean, Matata should win this. I mean, we had Darryl Jacob on telling us that he's probably not the most straightforward of rides. But
this was the 2. In fact, this was the 2-horse race last year, wasn't it, with John Bond and Calico?
Yeah.
So at least it's improved from last year.
At least it has improved. That is very true. Yeah, Matata, I think he's the best horse in there. Half a length to JPR1, who potentially is the UK's main Arkle hope for Cheltenham. I just can't see past him. If you don't win this race, I don't know what to do with him. But I think he's got some ability. I think he's just putting it all together. Like Darryl said, he's not the most straightforward ride. So, but yeah, I just think he wins this.
Yeah, Liv, I mean, obviously, like I said, it's disappointing to have a 3-1 field on a Saturday and a big card at Warwick, but do you think it's just Matata's to lose, or are you thinking anything else?
Yeah, I agree with Rich, to be honest. I think the JPR1 form just says all. Really think he should win it, and if he doesn't, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have a pound on the outsider of the 3. It's the classic saying, the outsider of the 3.
Yeah.
Matata should be winning this for Jacob, and hopefully gets round safe and sound, because he can be a bit of an interesting ride, let's say. But,
well, it looks like it's Jacob Dowell's come for this ride, because he's got the Crawfords have got that one in Newbury, haven't they? That Danny Mullins has come over for.
Yeah.
Certainly has, and fingers crossed he goes well. I've got a couple of comments here. Cheltenham Exchange lads have jumped on. Evening, gents, and evening, Liv. Good evening, guys. Thanks for jumping on and watching. We do appreciate all the support we get. So, yeah, thank you very much. Brilliant. Right, that's Warwick out of the way. Now we're going to get stuck into the good stuff. I'm going to kick us off here with the 130. This handicap hurdle. This is a really tasty race, I think. 3 mile. You've got Young Butler in his favourite currently, 11-2, the field, which is obviously tight for Harry Durnham. G.A. Henty, I'm going to say, for Skelton. Emiton Quintara, American Sniper, and 10-1 bigger the rest. I'll come to you then, Liv. Kick us off with the Newbury card in a very intricate handicap. Where have you landed? Have you got 1 or 2? What are you thinking?
So, obviously, the one that catches my eye instantly is American Sniper because of the White Rhino form. But I don't know if he will stay. And his last run, he finished 4th at Taunton, and that's provided him with no form whatsoever. So, I don't know if he's maybe had enough this season already or if that was just a blip. So, I'm going to go for Quintara. I know she'll stay. She'll like the ground. She finished, I think it was 3/4 of a length behind Jay Fraud for Laura Morgan in a Class 2 race. Won at Aintree, I was there. It was absolutely horrible ground. So obviously her determination showed that day as well. She just powered through it. And she's 1-1-2 for Mel Rowley as well. So I think for the safety side, she's got national hunt breeds and through as well. So I'll be siding with her on this one.
Love it. I don't mind that at all. Charlie Deutsch rides, might say 8-1 currently. That's not a bad price at all. Rich, again, same question to you. It is a tough handicap to decipher. And I mean, it's currently down a soft ground. Don't know what sort of weather they're having. I know we've had snow and that up here, but be interesting to see if it gets sort of testing conditions. Which way are you siding? Are you going for a mud lover, or are you keeping it? What are you keeping it on?
I've not really got a massive opinion on this. You know, I looked at American Sniper as well with the White Rhino form, but like Liv said, will he stay? He's never been beyond 2.7, I think.
It's not far off 3 mile, like.
Well, it's not far off, but yeah, I'm not that convinced. I looked at the Wise Guy for Henderson. You know, he's got form over 3 miles. Didn't really suit the, I say the Doncaster ride again. It was 2 miles 7. My only concern there is he probably doesn't want the soft ground, so I kind of ruled him out. I just ended up landing on G.A. Fenty for the Skeltons. You know, finished a next second at Market Raising last time out, but they were 12 lengths clear of third. That was over 2 miles 4. I just think it's quite interesting that they're stepping him up to 3 miles on his handicap debut off 114.
Off bottom weight.
Off bottom weight. Yeah. I just thought that was quite interesting. So he's the one I'd probably have a go on, just for the fact that bottom weight, handicap debut, stepping up quite drastically. I just think the signals are there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going far wrong. I think when I started looking through, obviously you're looking at a Skelton runner off bottom weight making his handicap debut, and you're thinking, is it just too obvious for him to be in here? But I kind of tried to look elsewhere if I could. I thought, obviously, Young Butler for Burnham, he looked quite interesting. He's won his last 2 runs. He looks quite progressive. But the one I'm actually going to take a bit of a chance on, and it is a bit of a chance, but it's the Anthony Charlton runner, Ikarak. You can get 10-1. I've gone for this guy because he just sort of looked like he might run pretty well. He's a French recruit, come over from obviously from France, gone to Anthony Charlton, and he's got some decent back form on quite taxing ground, and I feel like it might be that. And I think this 3 mile trip's going to be what's going to be the making of him. He's won a couple of decent races as he's sort of been improving. He was 6 behind Butch last time, but if you go back and watch the race at Cheltenham, he just made, if anything, it's just his jumping. If he just makes the odd little silly mistake, and he made one pretty bad mistake, I think it was 3 out, and he basically dragged his back legs through the ground, and he did well to finish where he did, to be honest. I thought if he can sort that out and just come on a little bit, he's in order off 120, and jockey takes £3 off Bradley Harris. Good jockey. I think if he gets him in a decent position, he can travel well and he stays well. He's just got to cut them jumping errors out. And like we sort of maybe thinking you might get a few extra places on the day, I just thought 10-1 might be a decent each way crack. So I'm going to go for, I'm going to have a crack at Ikarak. I'll try saying that 10 times fast. Love it. Brilliant. So that's a winner there. Right. 205. The Denman Chase. Now, obviously, this is a pretty big race for what could throw out a few things in the Gold Cup market. Shishkin's taking his chance in here. Protectorat's in here. Rich, the mighty Hitman's in here. Here he is. Second run after a 4th wind up. Sam Brown, and then does he know? It's a select field. Rich, is it just a case of Shishkin wins? What do you think?
No, Hitman beats him, doesn't he, James?
Well.
I mean, surely Shishkin, he's not had the best of season so far, but I think it's got to be 3rd time lucky for him. He's the highest rated in the field. I think he's 173 rated. Protectorat's 165. I mean, it's nearly level weights, kind of between. Well, it is level weights between those two. Hitman's on 11.2. That's not going to be enough, I don't think. I agree. He brings the best form into the race. I think he was going to place in the King George. He probably wouldn't have won, but he'd have been top 3. That's way ahead, and I think in this field, I think I would like to see Hitman run well, just because I know you've got a little dabble on him in Ryanair, and I think
Ryanair about 100-1, haven't we? Probably more.
I think he needs to run well to stand a chance. I mean, he got close in it last year, but yeah, you want to see him to go into that race with a decent prep under his belt. So a little interesting race, like you say, very informative. But yeah, Shishkin just wins.
Yeah, I'll just flick these comments up a sec. The Rain It In lads are on. Good evening, Rain It In lads. They've said judicial law for the handicap hurdle. 2 from 2 on heavy ground, 1 over further. Probably needs a career best. So yeah, I think he'll run pretty well in. George has jumped on what's put here. Absolute Rogues. No idea what that means or what that's in relation to, but I'll take it, George. Cheers for tuning in, mate. And Joe's here. Look, Joe, welcome, mate.
Hello.
Thanks for turning up finally.
Sorry, mate. Traffic was horrendous. I had to take my mum out as well. I'm here.
It's the standard excuse, isn't it, mate? There's people here that have come to watch you. And
who put Rogues, by the way?
George he put Rogues. What's he put here? I keep clicking that wrong button. Absolute Rogues Gallery. What's that mean, George? I don't know what you're talking about. That means like the chat, I don't know. But anyway, right, Joe, obviously you've come in late. We've already done Warwick. We've flown through Warwick.
Do you reckon it'll be on?
He's put meant the horses. All right, okay. Absolute Rogues, okay. Yeah. Cheers, George. Love you, mate. Warwick, I'll open it'll be on, yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
Fingers crossed. Did you see well, you'll obviously live there, Rich. Donny looked horrendous.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah. Did you see the Jaguar drift as well before the off?
Yes.
I think he was. Well, I checked my phone. He's about even money, and then when you said, "Oh, it might be off," I checked my phone. I think he was touching 11-4. I'm thinking, "Oh no."
It's weird.
When it's snowing. Go on, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I just didn't understand it because I know that Paddy Power opens him up at I think it was 13-2. And then he quickly went into 6-4, and then he was 5-4, and you could just see the price changed on the screen. And me and my dad were like, "It's nothing to do with the way he looks in the parade ring," because he was strutting around like he owned the place. So
I noticed the exchange price was just going up, and I'm thinking, "Oh no!" And then I see them all come off the track. I thought.
So what if it had got on 1 and there'd have been somebody with a slip at 13-2? That'd have been. Well, some trader there was put. I don't even know where they even got that price from. That's just a crazy price to start with. They've clearly. It just shows you they don't know much, do they? These people who do the prices. I've got a mate who does prices for William Hill, and I always text him and say, "Put this in at this price. It shouldn't be that price." But anyway, Joe, what we'll do is then we'll go on, mate.
Go on. Sorry. I'm going to ramble.
No, go on, carry on.
I said next time there'll be no such price like that, will there?
No.
So now you've come in, Joe. I mean, obviously, we'll just circle back a little bit. We could probably talk about Warwick at the end when we do anything else, and you can read it. But just going back to the 130, the handicap hurdle. Considering we've just done it, who is your pick for that one? And I'll do a couple of these other comments, and then we'll move on.
Where was this at? Sorry, Newbury.
130 Newbury, the handicap hurdle. I've done each way on Ikarak. Rich, who did you go for again? Sorry,
G.A. Henty.
And Liv, you went for, I believe it was Quintara, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, great choice. No, I do like Quintara. I was on him last time, and he led all the way around at Warwick, and then I think he made a mess of the last, didn't he? And then just seemed to run out of steam and got picked up later on. He's coming back a furlong. Obviously, Charlie Deutsch is riding out with skin at the minute, isn't he? I think he won the first 2 this season. He come from Kim Bailey's. He won on heavy the time before at Warwick, so he won't have a worry about the ground, will he? I just think he's pretty versatile. He seemed to steer the trip very well. At the 3.5 miles, I think the half a furlong and the mess at the last just sort of undone him. I think the drop back down to 3 mile will do nicely. He seemed to see a bit of money as well. I think he opened at 12, he's into 8. So yeah, I did land on that one. But American Sniper, does that have form ties with
White Rhino?
Yeah, I thought it did. But yeah, he was a bit disappointing last time out. But yeah, Quintara for me.
Love it. Nice one, mate. I've got a couple of comments here. Jack's on. Good evening, Jack, mate. Good evening, lads. Shish Edwardstone double, you know what to do. Oh, I don't know. I'm not too sure. Edwardstone, we'll get onto that in a minute. Aiden's on. Evening, Aiden, mate. Cheers for tuning in, my good friend. That's my pal. And Michael's been on. He's put an interesting comment here. He's back. He's Michael. Good evening, Michael. I'll try and read this out, but I can't read half at time. Sneaky boy information, boss, about Ballyburn going for Bingham Novice Hurdle. Mystical Power staying at Supreme, flowing out now. I'll get maybe more tonight because got to see him. Well, if you get any information, Michael, let us know. Cheers, mate. We do appreciate it. Right then, so going back to the Denman Chase, have I come to you, Oliver? Joe, have you got? Are we thinking for Denman, mate? Is it Shishkins to lose?
Yeah, Shishkin for me, mate. I mean, Protectorat run a decent race last time out off top weight, and he didn't run too bad either at Cheltenham in the handicap there against Broadway Boy, but I just think he's sometimes awkward, can get himself undone. The one worry for me for Protectorat would be the same situation as Haydock. There's, I think there was 4 runners there. There's 5 runners here. So yeah, for me, well, it's definitely Shishkins to lose. He would have been a lot. I personally think he would have won the King George if he never unseated. So yeah, for me, Shishkins to lose. I'm surprised not short, to be honest.
Yeah, it's currently 8-13. I mean, it's short enough. I mean, Liv, again, is it Shishkins to lose, or are you piling on with Hitman? Come on.
I'm going to have to go for Shishkin. I think for more value, you might do the Shishkin Protectorat forecast maybe. I think Shishkin, there is a big question about whether he would have won the King George or not. I think he was quite unlucky to unseat. I don't really know what happened. I've rewatched the race, still don't really know what happened. I mean, Hewitt came out of nowhere, so he could have picked him on the line either way. But realistically, I think if he doesn't win this, something a bit wrong there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I don't really know what he's done to tip him set up. He just sort of slipped or something.
Yeah.
But I think he wants to be winning this. He should be winning this. I think Protectorat, like when we had Harry Skelton on, he sort of said, he has to be flat out in his races to win. And he's got it. It's all got to fall for him to win. I think he may struggle in this, to be honest. Hitman, to me, doesn't, although I like him, I'll go at me, Rich, but he doesn't stay any further than 2 mile 4. Anything over that, no chance. Yeah. And the other 2, I think they'll do well to get near Shishkin. The King George, I think, like you said, I think you said, Rich, I don't know if he'd have won, but he'd have certainly been thereabouts. So, like I say, it's not really much of a betting race, but I'll stick with Shishkin and let him book his ticket for the Gold Cup. What are you laughing at, George? Seen something?
Would you say Hitman even stays 2 mile?
I'm telling you now, right? Hitman has obviously had his fourth wind up, I think, in his last run. Put a pin in that. Let's see how he runs today. Oh, sorry, on Saturday. He won't stay at 3 miles, so if he's just plodding along in behind, they're getting to know him after his fourth wind up, and he's going to come into the Ryanair. And although I've put up in Violin, if Hitman gets there, I'm worried. I'm worried. Oh, brilliant. Right then, so we've got a few more races to go, and these ones are the way we're going to get really stuck into it. So the 240, the Game Spirit Chase, and we have Edwardstone in favourite 7-4, Boot Hill at 9-4, Editor de Gite. Tell you what, they're doing me over today. Funimble, I can't even say that. Funimble Civola, Amarillo Scout, and Calico. Joe, you're laughing at me pronouncing some of these names.
I'm worse.
We're brilliant at doing it. None of us can get any of the words right. But are you with Jack, who mentioned Edwardstone? Are you piling in on him? You've spoken about him a bit on the shows previous. Are you with him on Saturday?
I am, mate. Yeah, I really like Edwardstone, but if you watch the time before at Kempton over that further trip, he just pulled and pulled and pulled all the way around it. And watching the race, he was never going to finish strong enough. I'm hoping the ground doesn't get too heavy. He's not one I'd pile into, to be fair, but I know John Bon was disappointing last time out. He was only 2 lengths behind him on heavy ground last time. The time before at Sandown. I think they tried to step up, didn't they? But he is a 2 miler. I don't think he's fast enough for the top horses anymore. He's 10-year-old, but I certainly think he should be beating these. Yeah, like I say, if the ground's not bottomless, surely he beats these. I mean, Boot Hill, the time before he fell, he was pretty lucky, I think, wasn't he? Winning, I believe I was at Haydock that day. So yeah, for me, Edwardstone, fingers crossed, gets back on track.
Fair point. I'll come to you next, Liv. Edwardstone, obviously, going to be quite well backed, I think, on the day. Are you with him or are you against?
I'm actually against him. I don't see much value in his price. I actually like the outsider, Calico. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Mainly because my dad told me, so he normally gets it right with the outsiders. I think Boot Hill as well, I do really like him, but obviously he fell last time and you don't know how that affects the confidence because, you know, to get up, like after falling, it's obviously a shock for them. So to go back out and face the fences again and try and do it, it is going to have a big knock on the confidence. So for safety, I'd actually go with the outsider.
No, that's an interesting line into it. I think, like I say, it's a small field. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Rich, which way you're going then? It's this could throw up potentially 4 different selections unless you're going with Edwardstone.
It's a good little race, this. You know, I have been a fan of Edwardstone, but
don't deserve
his last run did not fill me with any confidence. You know, he was too keen. I mean, he has got the best form. 2 seconds behind John Bon is probably the strongest form in here. But his last
John Bon can't even beat
Elixir de Nuts.
Terrible form, that. Come on.
Don't worry, I'm getting to that. His last win came in the Tingle Creek in 2022. I mean, he's not won for a long time now. I just kind of think of the powers starting to stray. There's 2 I quite like in here. The first one is Editor de Gite for Gary Moore. I mean, he won at Kempton on Boxing Day, beating Elixir de Nuts, who obviously beat John Bon, who's only been beat by Constitution Hill and El Fabiolo. So, you know...
He did have excuses, though, to be fair to him.
You could say that's strong form.
He had way your money on him anyway. That'll have brought him down a peg or 2.
Yes, let's not talk about
that. Sorry.
I do actually like Calico as well, that Liv mentioned. You know, he's got a lot to find, but I just think at the price, I think he's worth a punt. You know, he gave John Bon a scare last season around this time in the Kingmaker at Warwick. And he was 5.5 lengths behind him, but there was a point where you thought John Bon wasn't going to respond and get there. So, yeah, I'd happily take on Edward Stone with Editor, Jeet and Calico for me.
That's fair enough. Well, we're all going to be going a little bit different because, well, for a start, I'm in agreement. Well, I'm not on Edward Stone anyway. I can't have Edward Stone. I think what you said there, Rich, he's not won for a very long time. I just think they don't really know what they're doing with him. I think he's going to probably struggle in here. I thought Editor Jeet was another one that I looked at. Obviously, he won well at Kempton 2 starts back, but he didn't really perform in that race last time out behind Elixir Donuts and John Mon. I just think off the sort of 160 plus mark in these top races, Editor Gazette seems to struggle. So I'm going to leave him. And the one I'm going for, and I'm quite strong on him, to be honest, is actually Boot Hill. I think I'm going to forgive him the fall. I think if you go back and watch it, he's kind of just sort of tanking in behind Editor Gazette and them, just sort of waiting to sort of pounce. I mean, it was 5 out, and he's just sort of took a chance at it, and it's tipped him up. I'm hoping. I know obviously Liv there, you mentioned you don't know what sort of effect it may have, but I'm hoping it's not had too much of an effect on him. But it was impressive the time before that off 12 stone. And I just think is an improving type who I think against the likes of Edwardson, I just think he's the one to be on personally. So I'm going to take a chance on Boot Hill at 9-4 and fingers crossed he can go and win. Love it. Right then, the big one. The Betfair Hurdle. I'm getting used to doing my new buttons. The Betfair Hurdle. The 3:15 at Newbury. Now, this is a brilliant race. You've got 25 runners in here, and it's taking some dissecting. I'm going to come to you first this time, Rich, if I can, and see. You've obviously picked, 7 or 8 out that you're going to tip up?
I've got
Are you going to land on just one?
It's a good old race, this. I mean, you've got the Mullins... O'Castle de Mart, is it? We'll go
that's not a bad shout, that. I'll take that, mate.
Like I say, it's very, very rare that Mullins sends one over, you know. Danny Mullins has come for the ride. He's a dual hurdle win over in France. He's making his UK hurdles debut in a race as hot as this. I think it's quite interesting, you know, but as to his ability, you just don't know, do you? He could be the next wonder horse, or the UK might have something up the sleeve that's better than him, but I don't really know. I probably wouldn't touch him just because I don't know a lot about him. You've also got what we got in here, Under Control, that we saw at Doncaster. Myself, James, I think you backed him 2.5 lengths behind Astro Diamond. I think that's quite decent form, although it was quite a quick turnaround and the conditions going to be completely different to what she experienced at Doncaster. The one I quite like the look of is Look Away. I think that's probably the each way sort of angle I'm going to be going at. Won the grade 2 at Cheltenham over 2 miles, beating Kamzinas, who we do kind of know about because he beat Making Headway in the grade 2 at Haydock. Obviously only 6th last time in the grade 1. But I do think they still quite like that horse, so I think that's still quite solid form. Second to Captain Teague in the Shallow. Those conditions were horrendous. Obviously, we saw Johnny Who come out and kind of bomb out at Cheltenham, but we all knew Johnny Who kind of needed that step up and trip. I just think he's a good each way sort of price.
No, it's nice, is that, mate? Like I say, it's such a tight race to call, and it's nice to see that we've actually got a big field handicap that we've got to, and there's some nice types in here, like I say, some novices, a couple of making the debuts. I mean, I come to you, Liv. I mean, we've obviously got this Mullins favourite coming over from France, and it's a bit like they've given him a mark of 133. Could that underestimate him potentially? But we don't really know anything about him, to be honest. I don't know my French form in anyway, which way sort of thing. So, where did you kind of start off looking, and what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I obviously looked at the Mullins horse first. I mean, both trainer and jockey are in amazing form at the minute. But again, it's kind of, is he going to be reliable? Because you don't know much about him. I've actually gone for, I think he's currently 16-1, Gary Moore's Spirit de Anu. I don't know how you pronounce it. Caelan Quinn is riding him. He's in very good form at the minute, as is Gary Moore. He's won 5 out of 7 of his races. The trip and ground should suit him. His latest race, he won a Class 2 at Sandown and Punta del Este, finished 3rd, and then he won next time out at Haydock, and we know that Harry Skelton thinks a lot of him. So I just think he's got quite a promising future, and I think he might put up quite a good performance in a race like this. I've also noted down Look Away for the same reasons that Rich said. I think quite a lot of him. And Norman Fletcher was in my 10 horses to follow, and they're going well. But I don't know if this is maybe a bit too hot for him, maybe, but he's got the ground in the trip and he's won in testing conditions before. There's just maybe a question about his form, but again, if he ran quite well, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, like you say there's no reason why you can't take a couple of darts at this. There'll be loads of places on show. I've just noticed George is in the chat. George, I know she's obviously mentioned Spirit Danu there. You might be able to give us a little line on that. How is he getting on? Is he ready for it? Joe, some nice picks there from these two. Which way are you thinking on this race on the Betfair Hurdle?
I may have already had a little line from George. And
here we go. You're getting secret information, are you?
No, to be fair, I texted him about 10 minutes ago. But yeah, like Liv said there, the form reads well. I think
is that what you texted him?
It's very important to have a horse who likes the ground, isn't it? He's raced on it all, to be fair, but he's had 2 handicap wins. Both of them have been on heavy ground. And in a way, I feel like he's still very well handicapped. Obviously, he had his first handicap run in March. Then they put him back just in Class 2s in the GBB races. And then they dropped him in a handicap in December. And I feel like they might have just put him away for this one. But one I do like at a biggish price, and I probably let him off for the last day, is Doddy the Great. He's 25 to 1. I know he's an 8-year-old, but it was his first handicap run in December against Go Dante. Give him £6, and he finished a length and a quarter behind. But he's got ones next to his name before that. He's won over 2 mile 5 at Kempton. He's won over 1 mile 7 at Ascot. And I just think, James Bourne's on 25 to 1 looks a big price to me. I know David Bass is on Lucia, shorter. And Under Control had a toughish race at Doncaster. I feel like Nicky's might get pulled or they might not, but I feel like the James Bourne jockey partnership on Doddy the Great is a telling one. I'm surprised he is 25 to 1, but the one I would back, I think, is a pretty big price of 14 to 1 is Spirit Danu. And yeah, I'd give a mention to Look Away. I know Connections after that run in the Challow said they didn't know whether to send him to the Ballymore or the Supreme. I know they mentioned more if it is softer, they will send him to the Supreme. So probably a horse to look for, if you're going to go and win the Supreme.
Charlotte mentioned him as well for a potential Supreme.
Yeah, and if you're going to be around there and you want to be, looking at a Supreme horse, you've got to be beating these when you're looking at the likes of Ballyburn and stuff, haven't you? So, it's a well open race. I'll probably go for the Gary Moore. We know how good Caelan Quinn, I think so, has been riding. We know how good he was on Naslam. He's won some big handicaps, the £3 of bonus, isn't it, that he's taken off. So, yeah, I'll probably stick and nail my colours to Spirit Danu.
No, it's fair enough. George has been in his pot.
George has just put that there. Literally,
spot on. We'll love the ground. He's been dying to get to the track for weeks. Impossibly tough horse, and that Caelan is a steal for £3. I mean, you can't not sort of agree with it. I mean, he did go through that Sandown race pretty well, and we know how bad the ground was that day. So if they do end up heavy or anything like that, you definitely have to give him a bit of a squeak, and he's worth a couple of quid, 100%.
Tell you what, he could be a Nassalam. The way George is talking, I think it could be a Nassalam job. 35 lengths.
It could be though, but it could also be, what was that other one that we spoke to George about?
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name now? Celtic. It could be a Celtic Ned.
Celtic Ned.
Let's hope he's not, George, mate. Let's hope he's not. Christine's on. Good evening, Christine. Evening all. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the show.
She's only tuned in now. Joe's back on.
Yeah, she dropped in just to see you, Joe, and that haircut. So yeah, looking through this race, then obviously it is quite tough, and I think it's just a case of pick a couple and have a bit of a dart. But the way I started off with Altabelli, I backed him last time out. I think he got beat by Lucia. I do think he'll reverse that form personally. I think he weren't far off, and he's about £4 better off. If you go watch that race back, it was wide throughout, a little bit keen early on, and just got fluffed his lines a little bit towards the end. But I think if you go back through his form, it's not bad. I think there's a big day in him, but the only thing that would worry me about him for this race, after watching that last race, even though I quite liked him, just the way he kind of hung right in behind horses, he didn't seem to want to go past, which kind of put me off. I thought in a big field handicap, if there's a bit of a bunch finish or whatever, and it's a bit of a battle, is he going to want to go past? So I am deserting him this time, which obviously you know what's going to happen if that happens. But I'm going to desert him. I'm going to have 2 each way plays in this now. My main one is one I can't pronounce, so that started me off well. But it's Origny Mill. I'm going for.
My dad likes.
Well, he's got good thinking than his your dad.
Liv, ask him if he can pronounce it any better, though, please.
He won't be able to. It'll be worse.
Origny Mill. I'm going for. We'll go for that. And I really like this horse. I think he looks really progressive. I think he's in here off 132. Now his last 2 runs, Wincanton on very heavy ground. He battered No Tonic by 5.5 lengths. He's gone up in the weights for that. That were off 116. He's then come out again at Kempton on decentish ground and bolted up again, and he's gone up another sort of £10 or whatever is £9. And I just think off 132 in here, I think it might underestimate him. Now, it's one of them where obviously there's a little bit of an unknown from a trainer that maybe not many people know, but I just think he's really progressive. If it stays decentish ground, he'll be able to handle that no problem. If it goes heavy, he can handle that no problem. And I just think that if you go back and watch that last race at Kempton, he is literally held up at the back, ridden like he's just miles better than them. And before you know it, he's 10 lengths clear. And I just think he could be a big improver into this field. And they probably had this in mind. And that's why, rather than kind of winning snugly, they won it by a long distance to maybe get his mark up so he can get in and around these and hopefully go and win. So that's my first dart. It's at 14-1. 14-1. And then the other one is, which is a little bit more of a riskier one, but the Skeletons have got one in here. Again, another one I can't pronounce. I just like picking ones I can't pronounce. Liu de Sud, I'm going to go for. I'm going to have a couple of quid each way on him at 16-1. He's in here off 129. We know how much Skeletons like a big Saturday handicap, and they've done pretty well so far this season. So I'm going to give him another little chance. It's his second run after a wind up. He was pulled up last time, but I'd kind of put a line through it. I think they were just sort of testing the waters. It was pretty bad ground that day, soft ground at Cheltenham. So I just think they weren't going to push him too hard. So once it maybe heated up in that race, they kind of just let him come home in his own time. So I think they'll probably have a good idea of him this time round. He's a French recruit. He's had some decentish runs. He's got some good form in there. On his second start in the UK, he was only 3 lengths off Ordinary Joe. He had some good horses in behind. Favois, Can Do Kid was in behind there. So the form's there. It's just a case of what sort of horse we're going to get on the day. So I'm going to chance him at an each way that this second run after the wind up for the Skeletons on a Saturday might be the one that comes and wins it. So those are my 2 darts. And I'll probably have a little bit of each one. Spirit Danu now. George says that we should GSI. That's me. What's Christine's comment here? James, you cannot rip the back out of Joe's hair. So compared to John Rich, you look like something out of Hamburger Hill. Cheers, Christine. I've had my hair cut. What do you mean? I like to have it short. Cheers for that. Chuff, lovely. So that's the Betfair Hurdle. Some nice prices in there. What are you saying, Joe? What are you laughing at?
I said lovely. Cheers for that one, Christine.
Cheers for that, Christine. I might just have to block you now. I'm going to block you. You're all right. Right, so then the final race. Some nice prices for the Betfair Hurdle there. I'm loving that. This one then, another very tasty little race. The 350 at Newbury. The Betfair Exchange. Novices Limited. Handicap Chase. It's 3 mile. You've got Inch House in here at 13-8 favourite. The infamous Mr. Coffee's in here. Making Your Mind Up. Hitching Jacking. Rock My Way and Hometown Boy I'll come to you first if I can, Liv. You can go first on this last race. Who do you think's going to win this?
I actually didn't look at that race, so I've got no idea.
Oh, apologies. I must not have said
But no idea.
I
I'll have a look now.
Right, I'll come back to you. You can have a little scan. Come on then, Rich. Inch House is obviously 13-8 favourite. Are you backing the favourite to finish you off on the weekend, or are you thinking something's going to beat him?
No, I think this is a fairly decent favourite. He got a couple of wins at Newbury over 2 miles 6, 2 miles 7. I thought it was a good run at Cheltenham, second to Stumptown.
Stumptown, yeah.
The Cromwell came over. I mean, he was 5 lengths back, but Claudien was a distance in third. I thought that was quite a decent run, stepping up in trip. He drops back down slightly here. I've not really got other massive opinion on anything else, really. Could Mr. Coffee finally win? Probably not. Inch House for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a fair favourite. He's in here, and like you say, that race at Cheltenham. To be fair to him, it was off the back of 2 wins. It was up another £7 in a probably a harder race, up in trip, heavy ground. It was always going to be tough for him. I think he made a pretty decent error. I think it was about 4 out. I think as well that maybe just took it out of him a little bit, and they just sort of he did all right to finish where he did. I think he's a worthy favourite, like you said there, back in trip, slightly better ground. He's probably got a right good chance. Do I want to be backing him at 13-8? I'm not too sure. I kind of went around and maybe thought making your mind up could be a tasty one in here. I think we kind of don't really know how good he is as a chaser. He made his chasing debut. It was 6 lengths behind the wise guy, but it was giving a hell of a lot of weight away to him all that day. So he's entitled to come on for that. He was then 31 lengths behind Apple away in the grade 2. And you kind of just think, well, what even is that form? We don't know anything. Sorry, class rate what? And it's like, we don't really know what he's got in him. This looks a bit of a winnable race. I think if you kind of really taking one horse on, I think Inch House. I think Mr. Coffee, I couldn't have him in the month of Sundays. You just don't want to win. Hometown boy, you trusted him. Second run after a hell of a break last time out. I think it was about 3 years near enough he were off. Is he going to bounce? You don't know. Rock My Way didn't jump very well last time out. So in my mind, and I don't really like Hitchin Jacking either, so he'll probably win for Skeletons, but I think it's a 2-horse race, and I think I'd just take a little bit of a punt. I mean, the way Harry Cobden's riding at the moment is sensational, so if it comes down to a battle, I'd maybe fancy him getting £6 off Inch House, so I'll take him. What about you, Joe? You piling into the favourite to win all your money back after you've lost it through there?
Mate, I think it's a power race, to be honest. Inch House should be winning this. I think Mr. Coffee's probably getting handicapped again for the what race was it he was in at Cheltenham last year in March? The Gerdam and Hill won it.
National Hunt Chase.
National Hunt Chase.
Yeah. National Hunt Chase, and I just can't.
Just for juveniles, isn't it?
You up?
No,
for juveniles, isn't it? National Hunt Chase, is it not?
No. It's not. No.
No, and I just feel like
it's a triumph, Rich.
No.
It's more for the flat out, you Rich. I'll let you off that.
Yeah, great podcast. Everyone listen. But yeah, I feel like he just wants a big. Well, setting him up for a big day, and I don't think this is the day. Making your mind up, I cannot have him after getting thumped by Apple away. I know you mentioned there, James, you can't read too much into the form, but for me, getting beat by Apple away 31 lengths on heavy ground, and then coming here on similar conditions, maybe a furlong extra might change, but for me, the £6 is that going to swing it to Inch House, who has a bit better form in the book? I don't think so. And then as you go down the market, I just think it gets poorer and poorer. This horse seems to give it all. He won over this trip at Newbury. He seems to be improving. Like I say, he bumped into Stumptown last time. Gavin Cromwell doesn't bring one over here for no reason, does he? That was obviously well handicapped. He was 7 lengths ahead of the rest of the field. Should take all the beating here, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone like Rock My Way comes and wings the last and pips him or something.
I mean, he didn't jump very well last time out, to be fair, Rock Way. He's going to have to improve in that area. But yeah, I mean, there isn't really an apple away in here, is all I'll say. I mean, I'll probably get ripped for that, but she is still a decent horse. And like I say, you don't really know what sort of form is, but I mean, you managed to have a quick look, Liv. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Inch House, I don't think he travelled or jumped particularly well at Cheltenham last time, but can forgive him for that. He still did well to finish just 5 lengths off the winner. He's a course winner at Newbury, so he knows it well, so it should be more straightforward for him. He's a point-to-point winner, so he should stay for the 3 miles. So yeah, I think he should be up there. I think he's got a massive chance, really.
Yeah, and to be honest, I do agree with you. I mean, it's one of them. He is like I said before, he's a very solid favourite. And maybe I'm just trying to be smart, trying to go against him, but he's probably the most likely winner. I just thought, making your mind up, I'll take a chance. But three-way for Inch. Let's hope he wins for you all. Christine's put a comment. What's she put up here? Christine. So she's put Exeter Sunday 305. Skeltons have one out called Be Aware. They must rate this one as straight into a decent event after one go. Harry's up. Well, Christine will GSI, and if it wins, I can buy myself a decent haircut, apparently. So,
a wig.
For that. What, Rich?
A wig.
I'll buy a wig, yeah, because obviously my hair's crap, so cheers for that.
Right.
All right, chill out. I've got a fancy podcast start. How's your Cheltenham Anti-Post team? Right, anyway. Right, so I'm going to move on now to the anything else section. So I'll go Richard and John. I'll come to you, Liv, and if I've got anything, we can go for it. I know you might be able to give us a line on a couple of G&G entries potentially. So we'll get to them. Rich, you've normally got a list as long as your arm of losers for anything else. So do you want to let us know and the people watching know what not to back at the weekend?
I've got 4. One of them I will leave because I think Liv potentially will talk about him. So I'll not mention him. The first one I've got is 155 at Nace. You've got Captain Cody out for Mullins. He looked quite smart first time out over hurdles. Another one that's come out of the Cheltenham bumper that's won first time out this season. Townend takes the ride. They have got another one in the race. Paul's picked this one, so we'll see how he gets on. Sticking at Nace, 340, you've got Muscada taking on Allegory de Vassi. A little preview of the Mare's Chase, I think, at Cheltenham. I wouldn't trust
neither of them win it, like.
That's what I mean. It'd be quite interesting because I wouldn't trust Allegory de Vassi after bombing out last time. She just can't seem to back any runs up. It would be a slight worry.
Is the other mare in that race as well? The one that my mare would be.
Let me have a quick look. 1 second.
No, what race? I'll carry on. I'll tell you. Silent Approach is in there as well. So Silent Approach in there, big price.
Yeah, nice 340, James. The last one I've got, it runs at Newbury in the bumper at last. Union Avenue runs for, is it James Moffat? Charlotte Jones is obviously taking the ride. She mentioned him on our Cheltenham Anti-Post show as one to follow. I heard the trainer come out saying it's one of the best bumpers he's ever had. He won quite well last time out, beating one of the Green Guerrero horses, Gamester's Guy, that I know they're quite keen on. Gamester's Guy did have a pound for that time, but yeah, I thought Union Avenue won that quite well, so I'm willing to give her another chance in this. And that's all I've got. Well, there is one more, but I'll leave it for Liv.
Not as good as that. There's a couple of nice horses in that bumper as well, so if that horse can go in that, happy days, and fingers crossed Charlotte can ride that one to a win. Joe, have you got hope for anything else?
The one for me was Muscada.
If you dare mention a flat horse, I'll mute you.
Well, there's Dundalk tomorrow. So
there's also Maidan. You want to mention some Maidan?
Maidan, yeah. Not quite yet.
Nace 340 for me, Muscada. Allegory de Vassi was very disappointing last time out. And, Muscada isn't, that bomb-proof horse, but she's got great form, to be honest. She was eight lengths behind El Fabiolo last time out, which is a bad form at all. And then that handicap at Cheltenham, she actually beat Dino Blue, and she was carrying more weight. And I just think if she can get things right here, 13-8 is a massive price, to be honest. It's not a massive race. It's not a strong race. I think 13-8 is a bit of, I wouldn't say an injustice, but I think it's a fair enough price, if you know what I mean. She can take the running up on her own. I think if she can get out in front and have it her own way, surely Dara just says, catch me if you can type of thing. So fingers crossed we'll be talking to Dara on Monday about this horse winning.
Will we?
Look at you dropping some big news on the podcast, Joe.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're all right. Yeah, like I say, I mean, obviously we've got the jockeys coming on the week in, week out, and we do have Dara O'Keefe coming on Monday. So if you're looking forward to listening him talk about how Mascara finished about 48 lengths behind Allegra Devassi, and that should be fun. So your best option wins now, Joe. Otherwise, it might be a little bit of an awkward.
If you do like Mascara, it might be worth putting a few quid on for the mares, because if she does beat Allegra Devassi quite convincingly, she'll not be. I think she's double figure price still. She'll not be.
You were a big fan of her, weren't you, James? Before, didn't you back her up?
Well, she obviously won well at Cheltenham, and if Mare's Chase was going to be the target, I mean, to me, the form that she's had so far this year, I mean, 18 lengths behind Allegra Devassi first time up was pretty poor, and then battered by El Fabiolo. But you could read that and think 8.25 lengths off El Fabiolo. You might think, yeah, that's good form, but she's not really done much this season to prove that she can go and do it. She gets what? I think it's £9 she gets off Allegra Devassi at the weekend. She has to win it to have any sort of chance in the Mare's Chase. I think it's a very open race. Dino Blue's obviously at the head of the market at the moment, which is fair enough. She's the one to beat, and there's a few nice horses in there. I put up Heretier for it at a big price. She obviously got beat last time out. What was the horse that beat her now? I can't remember. No, it's gone from my mind. But yeah, it's a tough little race. It's an open race. The mares, Riviere de Tel's not a bad horse. Jack Kennedy's obviously in flying form. It's a tough little race, but hopefully Dara can go and win it, to be fair, because then it'll make Monday's show very exciting. And he won for me yesterday as well on Mighty Jeremy. So riding out of his skin at the moment. Love it. What do you think on that? On a quick one, Liv? Do you think anything about these mares at the moment? Not many of them are sort of punching above the weight at the moment, are they?
No, which is a bit disappointing. I feel like we need a bit more girl power, but we can trust him Winter the Lightning for that, hopefully. So I'm relying on him.
I mean, to be fair, with the Mares Hurdle division is flying. There's some unbelievable horses in there. The Mares Chase just seems to have fell away a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Right then, I'll come to you for the anything else section. Have we got any other runners that we should be keeping our eye on for this weekend?
So one I quite like runs on Sunday at Exeter. It's Josh the Boss, trained by Nigel Swiston Davies. His owner is John Neild. His son Jamie normally rides him. His last 3 runs, his first run was at Warwick. He won by 19 lengths. He was really impressive. He travelled really well throughout the race. A real eye catcher. Then he went to Aintree. Again, that was the day I think that Jaguar ran and the hurdles in the home straight were taken out. So he did really to keep up the pace on the flat. I think his national hunt flat form helped him with that though. And then he went to Sandown after Aintree for, I think it was a grade 2 race. It was quite hot. He travelled really well. I thought the ground was quite testing, but he did really well. He still looked like he had a chance coming to the last, and then he was kind of ran across and really short of room, and then he kind of made a mistake and unseated. But I've been kind of keeping my eye on him. He's had a few different entries and he's never been declared. So if he is declared for Sunday, I think he's going to be one to keep an eye on. The next horse is Silver Bridge tomorrow for Greenhorn Guerrero. He's going back to the flat at Wolverhampton. I just think, I'm not necessarily saying he's going to win because I've got no idea, but I just think it's interesting to see. And then third one is making headway on Saturday at Newbury. He was meant to be going to Bangor tomorrow, but obviously that's being called off. I think he's just, his owners absolutely adore him. We were sat with them after Aintree and they were just, pouring the hearts out to us about him. They absolutely love him. They were so happy with his fourth. I think he was really impressive on his rules debut at Carlisle. I mean, there was a loose horse. I don't really know if that helped him, but for a young horse, I think that might get in the way a little bit, but he just powered through and did the double with White Rhino. And then he went to Haydock straight away. That was a hot race, and he nearly got there. I thought he was going to do it, but he was just just swallowed up. And then at Aintree, I think he was ridden out the back the whole way, if I remember right. And the ground was quite weird that day. I feel like you couldn't really travel if you were trapped at the back. You kind of needed to be quite prominent to actually get somewhere. But he nearly got third. He was half a length behind Cannock Park, which I really, really liked that Craig was on. So yeah, I think he'd have a right shout in this race.
Yeah, I mean, I like all them picks and all them ones to follow. We'll definitely be following them in at the weekend. I mean, the main one we'll speak about, I think, if we can, is obviously Making Headway. I mean, the lads will know we really do like this horse. We were there, we've met him, we've been up close and personal with him. I think his form has been brilliant throughout this season. Probably a trip that's a little bit too short for him. No doubt that there's some sort of target for him down the line, potentially up in trip. So we'll fingers crossed see where that ends up. We had Josh on. He mentioned a couple of targets, so we won't go into them, but we'll see where he ends up. I mean, Rich and Joe Making Headway. I think he could probably win this race.
Probably.
You what, Joe?
Probably wins. Come on. No,
yeah, I'd like to see him win this, and I think if he does win it, even if it be being over 2 mile, if he does win it, I don't think he'll go up much in the handicap either on his mark. So it should keep him sweet for whatever his potentially target on the line. What do you think, Rich? I love him.
I think he's got a great chance.
On, actually.
I mean, a great chance, like you say. I think he's the highest rated in here. I mean, he's been running at grade level. He drops in class here. I don't see anything else in the field that potentially could run to a similar level. So, yeah, I think he'll take all the beating. He's won on heavy ground at Carlisle, so the ground's not a big issue for me. Like you say, probably will need a step up in trip, like you said, but yeah, he should have enough class to beat them on Saturday.
Yeah, like I said, he actually gets weight off Hastings as well. I think he must be carrying a penalty, I'm assuming, for his win last time out. But yeah, massive fan of Making Headway.
Fingers crossed. Like Robert Dunn's on, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Carlisle. Me and Liv, you'll know him, Craig. Me and Craig were there shouting him on. It was so. I think it was soaking. I'm sure it was pouring down that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he done very well. That loose horse. I mean, I know I was stood next to Craig. They were very nervous. Obviously, I believe as well. Henry didn't really get stuck into him much. I think it was Rachel was a bit scared at the end because to chase the dream.
I saw that video. She's like, Henry.
Yeah, to chase the dream got a bit too close, but fingers crossed anyway. But surely a step up in trip's going to bring out improvement. But if he has enough at this level over 2 mile, then it's just more to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think he can win this or certainly run well, and then he'll have a big target for him in the future throughout the rest of the season. I think definitely. I put this last comment for Christine before we do the because it's made me giggle as this. She's put on the blind side runs at the weekend. Bit of a dodger in truth. Think he was named after Nicky having too many drinks at 7 brandies, not Barrows. However, I'm backing him for small stakes as Nicky's sober. Oh, Christine, you don't have to make me laugh.
Cheers, Christine.
Good old Nicky at 7 brandies. I love that. Love that. Right then, so we'll finish on our naps and then our charity bets. So, Rich, who is your nap of the weekend?
Making Headway.
Making Headway. I don't have a price for him, so we'll see what price he is. But I don't think it won't be too short in the market. I think so. We might get a decent price on him. Joe, who's your nap?
My nap is going to be Spirit Dano.
Love that. A big choice in the big race. Liv, do you have a best bet for the weekend?
Making Headway.
Come on, get in there. Well, my nap's going to be Boot Hill. I'm going to take Boot Hill as the nap. And obviously, we've been doing charity bets each week, so I'm going to stick. I mean, I was close to one last week. Just got let down by a tight finish, but I'm going to have a double this week. And my double is going to be Boot Hill and Making Headway. I'm going to back the double and have a tenner on that. What about you, Rich? Something similar?
I'm going to have a double. Making Headway and Union Avenue.
Oh, I might have to have a treble now. I can't put a bumper out in it, but no, stick to it. No, I like it, mate. Love it. Joe, who's your charity bet this week?
I'm going to go the single, mate. I think 14 to 1's a great price. So Spirit Dano.
£10 win.
£10 win. We'll go for it. £10 win. Yeah.
Go on, lad. I love it. Liv, I mean, I don't know if you don't have to do a charity bet. I don't know if you've had a think.
No,
you have one yourself.
I think I'm gonna wait to see the price on Making Headway and Winter Lightning. I think if Making Headway gives more value, I'll go for him because again, Winter Lightning, as much as I love her, she has got big competition, and as I say, she will give a battle, but Making Headway might offer a bit more value, so I might just go safe and go for him.
Love it. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Right. What's Christine put here? Go Rich wins the bumper. I don't know. The Charlotte's ride's pretty decent. But yeah. Right, guys, that's it. Thank you again, everybody, for watching. Obviously, it's been a nice little weekend. Liv, obviously, have you enjoyed yourself coming on?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Anytime. We'll definitely have you on again down in the future. It's been nice having you on, giving your opinion. Rich and Joe, I've had a blast tonight. It's just great to talk about the racing. We've had a few winners over the last few weeks, so hopefully we can repeat that with a few big prices. Rich, are you ready for it, mate? You had a good time tonight?
Yeah, it's flowed really well. I've quite enjoyed it. Great to have Liv on, and there is some good, interesting races to be having a little go on.
Yeah, I think it's a good punting weekend. Any final words, Joe?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. There's some tasty looking handicaps, and I feel like there's going to be some decent-ish priced winners in there. Probably keep an eye out for what horses are entered at Cheltenham, look away horses like that, that may be there for a mark or something like that. But yeah, enjoy, and thanks for coming on, Liv.
No worries.
And like I say, thank you everybody for watching and subscribing. Obviously today the big news is we ticked over 500 subscribers, so well done, guys. Well done for that. Absolutely buzzing with that. Thank you everyone who does subscribe and supports the channel. We're going to continue to grow, and we will be back on Monday with Darragh O'Keefe for the next Cheltenham Festival Anti-Post Countdown show. Thank you again, guys. Rich, thanks, Joe. Thank you. I'm babbling on now. Liv, thank you very much. Cheers, everyone, for tuning in. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us all on Twitter, and we will see you all again next time. Thank you, and goodbye.
See you later.